Somebody asked over there in the YouTube page, BALUSDT. This one, I really don't like to see these shooting stars like this. This screams market manipulation. It also screams illiquid market. It looks like to me what ends up happening here is, the order book gets awfully thin. Notice if we get up into this area, this is pretty much the previous market structure fail level there, that low, right? Plus that low there. So what I see happen here, market dumps, puts in a bottom, and then we spike up into these because everybody sort of, falls asleep. All the sell orders get liquidated. Not liquidated, a lot of them probably just people gave up and said, oh, fuck it, I'm not going to sell where I'm supposed to sell, just sell it now. Order book gets awfully thin. This would actually be probably a really good lesson in studying the order book. So if anybody really wants to have some fun with that, it would be tough to do because, of course, getting old order book data is very difficult. But my hunch is the offer side of the book really started to thin out here, especially when they took out this high, and it created almost like a vacuum. You probably also had a situation, notice that this was a breakout level. You probably had some fat cat, and it was probably some assistant or something that really didn't know what they were doing. And the fat cat says, okay, just go buy me 10,000 of this thing. So they just place a market order, and the market just goes and cleans out the order book on the other side. Once the order's done, there's no more buying, and the market just falls right back into support. So it looks like they've done that a couple times. Try not to chase and don't be the idiot buying up here. But, I suppose if you zoom out, what do you think the odds are we're coming up against previous lows? I bet you're probably pretty good if we go USD. Actually, this is an interesting one. So this is technically pretty darn cheap. I suppose you could also argue too. Remember I had said earlier that these lows were key support and resistance. That's probably also the same thing there too. Cheap. I would definitely call this thing cheap. OBV divergences are huge. They're so powerful. So something clearly is going on underneath the surface here. A lot of this, unfortunately, is, the kids FOMOing, buying. They don't realize, a lot of the people that come into crypto up top here, they don't even look at price charts, so they wouldn't even know. The way that 90% of the market participates, which is kind of tragic, but it is the way that it is that this is probably the extent of their analysis. When they want to play crypto, this is basic. Oh, hey, Uniswap is up 0.1%. Oh, in the past 24 hours? Tone Coin was up 3.1%. Oh, that must be a buy. And look at that chart. That's a bullish chart. Look at all the W's, right? Okay. Believe it or not, that's actually the extent of what the public does as analysis. Believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Looking at this and seeing the price make higher highs and higher lows, of course, all TRIers, we'd be like, oh, you're crazy buying up here. But, the public doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Especially, I'm hearing a lot of people say, oh, go on this site called TradingView. So that means that they've never even been on TradingView. Oh boy, that's scary. Anyway, so from that perspective, are we buying an expensive idea or are we buying a cheap idea? I'd say you're actually buying kind of a cheap idea. See if we can get any more history on this thing. It's kind of hoping. I don't know what Gemini is. Let's see. Is this thing any more data? There you go. There's a little bit more data. So clearly this is a very, very important level. I really don't mind, this is a good example of, I don't know whether this thing is a technical buy just yet. I always like the whole weekly W's. Can you see the weekly W's trying to form? Down, up, almost down. Oh, here we go again. It's trying to make these weekly W's. You might even argue down, up, down. Did that break to new lows? What's that number? That's 456, and that number is 459. Oh, there may be W's in here. Also, too, as sort of a litmus test of trend, I always like to ask, what's the 13-period exponential moving average on the weekly basis versus the 30-period simple moving average? Has that turned? Oh, hello. You can see it looks like it turned up right in here. You're not chasing. And believe it or not, half of the battle in this game is just to stop people from chasing. I hate to say it, here's a great example. You can see the original W in this particular case only took 2 weeks, eh? Boom, 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 away you go. Don't chase. You're not allowed to buy up here. And look how they brought the market right back down against those lows. Then here comes a W. Moving averages turned up, and there's your buy signal right in there. Right? And you can even do things like trend lines, right? Can I have a W on the other side of the trend line? That's all over here. We got any kind of bullish structure on the other side of this trend line. Away you go. You're not chasing, so score 1 for the good guys on that. Good job. Dudes are trying to form weekly W's. Not bad. OBV looks sexier than sex. That alone would actually almost want me to go and buy some now. Let's see what this thing looks like over on. It's not bad. Interesting how this one is painting 3 lower highs. I don't like that. If we get a green bar on a weekly basis that's less than the lowest green bar that you see between these 2 highs, then it means the bulls have officially fallen asleep. The lowest bar is that one there is 677. That one there is 700. This one's 647. So it looks like 647. This bar right here. Watch if we get an up bar, green, that's lower than that one right there, then you'll get 1, 2, 3 lower highs. M confirmed. Bulls have officially fallen asleep. And to bust out all this, show me a nice big fat green bar that's through this high, and ideally through this high, and then we know, oh boy, this thing's off to the races. But probably your trade, notice, we had lower bars, and then all of a sudden the green bars started to perk up here. That's what painted this rally. It's not a bad idea, It really isn't. If you're patient and disciplined, let's assume that these W's hold. So then we can go off of whatever this lowest low is back up to that high, and you can start doing things like chaos theory. Then you can also do things like, well, this is the lowest low, this is the high, so let's start doing some retracements. Notice 4.669 lines up nicely with the 50% rule, which lines up pretty nicely with that high right there. So believe it or not, looking for 35 bucks down the road, not unrealistic in my eyes. So I don't think you have really that bad of an idea here, honestly. Good on you. There is the ball. In fact, what I would say, just as I was saying to you guys earlier, I don't like to chase. This candle wick, again, is this a fat finger? Maybe we just don't include that. I do like to use sort of candle bodies for reference. So even if we just go here, back, I don't know, I guess we can go down to there. But actually, there's the lowest low all the way down there. That would be better all there. Where's your reload zone? Notice the reload zone, interestingly enough, if we did a horizontal support and resistance, there's 78.6, there's 459. So is $7 a little bit expensive for this thing? Yeah, maybe. And if you want to if you're like, well, Brian, I really like the fundamentals of this story. I think I like the guys who are operating this story. The directors are totally trustworthy. Okay, put yourself on maybe a dollar cost averaging plan. Maybe throw in a bid off of 38.2s and the 200 SMA. And if this is some sort of head and shoulders, before the big blast off, well, you got a nice fill on the 38.2. As I said before, and what I'd probably do following the end of this video is just throw in a bid at that 447, 78.6, looking for a stab, kind of like the way you see these stabs up top sort of randomly happen. I like a stab against these lows, see if you can buy some cheap coins down against the bottom end of the range. Notice that this W, this original W level right there, is basically that 38.2. So Kind of like the chain link, the sushi. You saw how those trades have basically not really done a hell of a lot, but this is basically a bottoming level. That's another sort of justification to work that initial bid at that 38.2 level. So see if you can get some there, and I might even do this when we're done this video. So as long as I haven't broken that 5% rule, I could go in and throw in a couple more bids here to bring that average price down. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, there you go. I bet you weren't expecting all that, eh?